1980 Bonneville SE Turbo 301 V8, the best car GM makes. Pontiac's new Bonneville SE gains a turbocharged 4900 V8 for the 80s. New big Pontiacs have flush side bumpers, an attribute shared with Cadillac. Rear deck is higher, hood and grille are lower. BC body redesign repositions the door handle higher for a cleaner look. Body weight has been cut over 100 pounds thanks to an aluminum hood and other lightening measures. New bumpers and rear aero skirts give Pontiac the lowest drag coefficient of any full-size car. New roofline adopts bolt upright C-pillar shared with Buick and Olds B-bodies. Width increases from 75.7 inches to 76.4. Pontiac leads the full-size supercar or power car segment, a name coined by Car Life magazine in 1969. The restyled Bonneville SE employs the Trans Am's new 210 horsepower 4900cc turbocharged V8. Though nearly 100 cubic inches smaller than the 79 SE's 400 V8, the turbo makes the 80 SE the quickest big Pontiac in 7 years because the engine weight decreases 200 pounds, body weight drops 100 pounds, and torque and horsepower increase. What's more, high altitudes have far less of a deleterious effect on performance than on the 400 V8. California SEs will be considerably slower as they use a non-turbo 160 horsepower 4900 V8 with the same compression ratio, though with the same big carburetor and twin exhausts. While last year you could have ordered the 200 horsepower 400 engine on any full-size 49 state Pontiac, this year you are limited to the newly available 175 horsepower EC or electronic control high compression spark feedback 4900 V8. The Turbo V8 comes only in the Firebird and Bonneville SE, making it even more exclusive and desirable. The Bonneville SE has Brougham trim, which includes windowsill moldings, power windows, color-keyed seat belts, lamp group, visor vanity mirror, and a 60-40 split front seat. The SE adds dual sport mirrors, sport steering wheel, bucket seats, floor shift console, pinstriping, snowflake alloy wheels, P215 75R15 tires, positive traction differential, firm ride option, and rally handling suspension. You might get sticker shock paying double what you paid for your last car, even though the sheet metal and windows are discernibly thinner, and more of the car is made of plastic. The MSRP of the 80 SE jumps $1,200, but if you want the quickest big car money can buy, SE is the top dog. High rollers can stoke the SE sticker closer to our test car's breathtaking $11,000 MSRP. For this, we got power door locks, rear window defogger, tungsten halogen headlamps, cornering lamps, air conditioning, tilt steering wheel, sunroof, padded Landau vinyl top, and a 6-speaker ETR AM/FM cassette stereo with digital readout and trip computer. Like all GM engines, the Turbo V8 is newly christened in metric units, in accordance with President Carter's metrification campaign. The 4900T Turbo was designed to make a 301 V8 feel like a 400 V8. It generates 345 foot-pounds of torque, 20 more than the 79 400. Both EC and Turbo 4900s have stronger main bearings, half-inch head bolts, forged pistons, and an aluminum manifold. The EC 4900 has 9-to-1 compression, but the Turbo 4900 spark feedback computer retards ignition only during boost and uses the same 8.2-to-1 compression ratio as the California 4900. The Turbo is mounted next to an offset 800 CFM carburetor with richening circuits that engage during boost. In the center nacelle above the steering column, you get a quartz dial clock, standard on Brougham. On cars with a gauge package, you get a vacuum gauge. On the 49 state SE, this space gets a turbo boost gauge that shows when the turbo is dormant, when boost is building, yellow, and when boost is at its maximum of 8 psi, red. It mostly just tells you how close your foot is to the floor. But since the Garrett Air Research Turbo is so quiet and is designed not to wallop you with top-end power, but to mimic big-inch V8 torque, it tells you the turbo is actually doing something. As we learned with this same turbo in the Buick V6, the power advantage comes in mid-range torque, which is fully 40% greater than the EC 4900, while horsepower is only 20% greater. You can even build boost right off the line by power braking the car, a strategy we used with the Turbo V6 Buick Regal to get the best 0 to 60 time. With the Bonneville, we didn't bother as it only produced time-wasting wheel spin. One downgrade in performance from the 79 is a reduction in axle ratio from 323 to 308 to 1. But parasitic power loss and cruising RPM is markedly reduced by a new Turbo Hydromatic 350C lockup clutch transmission. Developed for the Corvette, it can hold lockup in second and third gear. This is the hot rod transmission, as lesser engines get a light-duty Turbo Hydromatic 200R 4-speed overdrive. The Turbo Hydromatic 350 has a high stall speed 2.3 to 1 torque converter ratio that compensates for the higher axle ratio. It shifts harder and at 5,000 RPM with a wide open throttle. Combined with a positraction rear end, it made quarter-mile dragging a stab-and-steer affair with no need for manual shifting or tricky launching techniques. The 80 Turbo SE's acceleration bested the 1977 400 cubic inch SE that we tested. 0 to 60 mile per hour runs were under 8 seconds in all 5 acceleration trials. The car shifts into second gear at 50 miles per hour and holds second right through the quarter-mile traps, where we scored a best 15.43 second ET at 88 miles per hour. Our Texas Instruments calculator tells us that it would top out at 133 miles per hour at 5,000 RPM in high gear. We didn't get near that speed on our short testing track, but the car sweeps the 85 mile per hour speedometer within a quarter mile and felt very strong up to 100 miles per hour. The curb weight of the SE is scarcely more than the Firebird Trans Am that shares the Turbo V8. And its improved drag coefficient is virtually the same too. We doubt the TA would be any quicker accelerating or much faster in the top end. The interior of the SE is much sportier than the chrome and vinyl slathered exterior. The upholstery has a new tape stripe pattern and velour texture, plus increased side bolstering for 80. The improved seats let the driver wring out the Bonnie to the max, as the kids say, while staying securely behind the wheel. The quiet and tightly sealed interior granted excellent acoustics for the 6-speaker stereo. We've long thought GM radios were above average, and the ETR AM/FM with signal scan was no exception. It also has a trip computer function that predicts arrival time, which we found very useful. The new Computer Command Control CCC is a 3-way catalyst monitoring system. It's a much more sophisticated version of Chrysler's lean burn engine computer, except it needs a catalytic converter to give the engine squeaky clean exhaust. The air-fuel mixture is constantly adjusted for temperature, altitude, and barometric pressure. A robot nose in the revised catalytic converter makes sure the exhaust is fresh and minty enough for Uncle Sam. GM promises it will increase maintenance intervals and decrease both emissions and fuel consumption, 2 goals long considered mutually exclusive by Detroit and EPA alike. It also has a self-diagnostic function and is covered by the 5-year or 50,000-mile emission system warranty. New GM spec radial tires boost pressure to 30 psi to reduce rolling friction 15 to 20%. New disc brake design minimizes freewheeling friction. The gas tank grows from 21 gallons to a massive 25-gallon capacity. The big tank allows you to drive from Chicago to New York without stopping for fuel in the V6 Bonneville. Trunk stowage volume grows from 19.8 to 20.8 cubic feet due to a new 16-inch wheel compact spare tire. It is meant only for speeds under 60 miles per hour and is only supposed to get you to the next garage. It's an improvement over the gas canister inflated compact spares that have lacked reliability. Not having a 5th tire means simpler tire rotation, but you'll need a new set of tires 20% sooner. While Catalina uses a rubber mat, Bonneville has a carpeted trunk floor and an optional velour trim trunk, one of the few options our tester didn't have. We expected the spare tire to be covered to prevent luggage from getting black scuff marks. We think the new side frame mount jack is a big improvement over the bumper jack. We tried it out on the car and found it to be far more stable. We tried mounting the new compact spare in front and back and think it's a good idea. It is much lighter and easier to handle than a full-size spare. There are actually 3 retractable sunroofs. 2 have silver or gold tinted glass that allow you to pull back the headliner and soak in the sun's rays when it's cold outside. Our car had the metal roof section, which means it can only be used in warm, dry weather. We prefer the glass section roof for this reason. We didn't use the roof that much, but it gives the car a more glamorous feel. Unlike the T-tops optional on the Grand Prix and Firebird, it is both leak and squeak free. Even compared to the vastly improved handling of the redesigned Ford LTD, the Bonneville SE maintains GM's #1 spot in big car handling. With a 300-pound reduction in body and engine weight along with the higher pressure tires, the Turbo SE has a higher limit of adhesion and far less understeer than the 400 cubic inch V8 SE. The big P215 series tires didn't squeal in protest in our pylon slalom course. With the higher pressure tires, we thought the ride was plenty isolated and quiet even for a traditional Detroit luxury car. Despite its firm ride option, we only noticed the stiffer springs when driving on broken pavement. If you find yourself on gravel roads often, you probably don't want it. But for those who wish to enjoy the car's newfound handling prowess, we recommend the firm ride option heartily. The Cafe Commissars in Washington, D.C. will get warm and fuzzy feelings deep inside from the new Turbo SE's vastly improved gas mileage. With 3/4 of the displacement and a 7% lower curb weight, we were able to best our 77 400 SE's 15 mile per gallon highway economy by 30% and the city economy by 20%. It's quite commendable given that the turbo car has more power than the 400. You don't buy an $11,000 luxury car because you're worried about saving a few dollars at the gas pump. But if you rack up a lot of highway miles, the fuel savings are substantial, especially given the recent big jump in gas prices due to the Iranian Revolution. It makes the SE very relevant. Bonneville's approach to luxury is in the 1960s idiom of building it with options. You can get nearly everything that the 119-inch wheelbase C-body Buick Electra and Olds 98 offer, but the Pontiac base price is lower. The 116-inch wheelbase Bonneville Brougham is $7,675. The Olds 98 Regency Coupe is $9,818 and includes air conditioning and a power seat. Olds offers the newly revised 6,600cc 403 cubic inch V8, which pumps out the same 210 horsepower but only costs you $340, while the Bonneville SE package is $980. Since we prefer Pontiac's slicker styling, we embrace the build it with options ethic. We would leave off the padded vinyl roof, but we decided that if you're buying a luxury car, you might as well get all the latest bells and whistles of a 1980 dream machine. The best thing about the Bonneville SE hasn't changed. It's still a throwback to the pre-war concept of the big and powerful touring car. Unlike most recent performance Pontiacs that were decorated with gaudy decals, blackout trim, and white letter tires, the Bonneville is classy and understated. The Bonneville has snazzy aluminum wheels, but otherwise the trim is all formal Americana. This gives it a classy sleeper identity you'll enjoy when blowing the doors off the long hairs and their noisy street rods. And with the new engine, the technology and fuel economy compare well to the smaller but more expensive European sport sedans. The performance and luxury are well worth the price. We can say with no reservations that it is the best car GM makes in its combination of room, luxury, styling, efficiency, power, and handling.